He didn't even notice, bro. I could have plus, bro. I could have played my event, took it back, and played it. It look, man, bro. Yeah, it's practice, bro. Years of practice. I be cheating for real, man. Y'all be catching me, bro. Y'all don't be watching my gameplay for real, bro. That's how I know. I don't got no real viewers, man. I be cheating for real, and no one has called me out. What's up, y'all? Dr. TCG here, back with another video, and today I got for you my One Piece card game 2025 tutorial. Now, this video is for a bunch of you guys who are interested in the card game but don't really know what the cards do or even how to play the game. So let's just start with the first thing, the cards. In the One Piece card game, you have 5 different card types. You have leaders, which are the heart of your deck. They determine your life, color, identity, and usually have a special ability written on them. Next is you have characters, the units you play to fight for you. They have power, cost, counter value, and sometimes keywords like rush, blocker, and banish. Next, you have events. These are one-time use cards that have powerful effects. Some can even be used during your opponent's turn, such as counter events. Another card you have are stages. Stages are cards that can permanently stay on the board and provide active effects. Lastly, you have Dawn, the game's main resource. You use Dawn to pay for cards, activate abilities, and attach them to your units to boost their power. Now let's talk about deck building. So in a One Piece card game, you need a 10 card Dawn deck filled with 10 Dawn cards. After that, you need a 50 card main deck, which includes any combination of characters, events, and stages. However, you have to note that you need 4 copies of each individual card in your deck at a maximum. So now that we know what our cards do, let's actually get into setting up our board for play. In card games, the place where you place your cards is usually called the board. We're going to talk about One Piece's board and the different areas and zones that are in it. First, we have this battle area, which you mainly just put your characters in the front. Next is you have your leader zone right here. Then you have your stage zone as well as your deck area. Below the deck, you have your trash. This is where cards who have been defeated by battle or events that you have used or cards that you pitch for counter go into. Next is you have your life zone. This is where you place the cards based on your leader's life. Here is where your Dawn deck goes, and then here is your Dawn area. This is where you place your Dawn cards and use them to activate effects. One special note about this battle area is that you can only have a maximum of 5 characters in the battle area at each given time. Anytime you play another character in your battle area at 5, the one you replaced goes directly to your trash. Now that we know what the zones are and where everything goes, let's talk about playing the game. So first you need to decide who's going to go first or second. And to do this, players usually either roll some dice, or they can play rock, paper, scissors, or even flip a coin. You guys can just decide whichever one you fancy. After that, you're going to grab your 10 card Dawn deck here, and then put that in your Dawn area. And now you have your 50 card main deck. You're gonna put that in your deck zone as well as your leader, and then put that in your leader zone. After you've decided the turn order, each player is going to draw the top 5 cards from their deck, and then they're going to do a process in which they get to look at these cards and decide if they want to keep them or not. If you do not like the hand you're dealt, you can decide to put it back into the deck and shuffle it. This is called a mulligan. Players who mulligan their deck, they usually put the cards back in and then shuffle it for a bit, and then it's proper etiquette, or not even proper etiquette, it's actually mandatory for you to give your deck to your opponent, in which they cut your deck. A cut is when your opponent basically does one final split of your deck just to ensure fairness and making sure you didn't do any cheaty magic shuffles. Right, so now after you've mulliganed, you only get 1 time to put that hand back. You take 5 cards from the top of your deck as well. Again, I'm sorry. And then you put the next amount of cards in line with your life into your life area. So because my leader, I'm playing Blackbeard, he has 5 life, I take the next 5 cards from the top of my deck, and then I put them here in my life zone. After that, the player who went first gets to take 1 Dawn for their start of their turn and put it from their Dawn deck into the cost area as active. Now, if I have a card that I wanted to play for 1 Dawn, I would rest that card and I would play it. Here I'm going to play this stage called Full of Lead. I rested the 1 Dawn because it costed 1, and then I put it in my stage area. This stage has another effect in which I can rest it, to take a card from my hand and then put it in my trash to look for more cards. And this stage is very unique to like the Blackbeard leader and what have you. And then I want to finish off the effect, so I'll take this this Jesus Burgess card. from the rest and then put the rest of the cards at the bottom. Most cards that look for one card in the deck are called searchers. This stage is a searcher, and then it puts the other card at the bottom of the deck. I know I went a little bit fast, but let's rewind a little and go slow and talk about the phases of the game. So that was pretty much a turn for Blackbeard in which he's going first. Let's talk about the phases of the game in which, you know, after you set up, how would Blackbeard go second? So in One Piece, there are like 5 phases in the game. There is the refresh phase. So if you have any rested units, characters, or leaders, you turn them back as active at the start of your turn. Next is you have the draw phase. Let's say I have a 5-card hand. Since I went second, I get to draw a card. The player who went first doesn't draw a card, only on their first turn. Every turn after, each player draws a card. So let's say I went second, I'm going to draw a card at the start of after my refresh phase. Then I'm going to take 2 Dawn instead of 1 Dawn, going second. And then every turn after, I will take another 2 Dawn. So then after the Dawn phase, it is the main phase. This is where you can once again do a lot of your effects, right? So you can play cards, attach Dawn, and attack. So let's say I wanted to once again rest 1 Dawn to play the stage. Since I have 2 Dawn, I can also rest another Dawn to play this other character who costs 1 as well, right? And then since all of my Dawn is rested, I can no longer use them to pay any other cost, right? So if I wanted to play this 2-costed unit, I would need these 2 Dawn to be active in order to play him. Within this main phase, I can also, you know, try attacking my opponent's leader and or characters. However, on each player's first turn, neither leader can attack. So I would have to wait until my second turn for my Blackbeard to want to attack into my opponent. After you've done everything in your main phase from combat and effect activation, you can then switch over to your end phase. Not a lot of effects happen in the end phase. This is just where you just say, hey, my opponent, it's your turn. Let's talk about combat. Let's say our opponent has taken their turn and they passed back to us since we were going second. We're going to do our refresh phase. Let's say we used our stage last turn to find something. Then we're going to draw a card from our deck and add it to our hand. And then we're going to do our Dawn phase. We're going to take 2 Dawn from our Dawn deck, put it into our cost area. Now we are in the main phase. This is where we start like doing stuff, right? Let's say I just want to rest 4 Dawn and then play this Jesus Burgess. Because remember, he costs 4 and now I get to play him directly into my battle area. Characters cannot attack the turn they are played unless they have the rush keyword, which basically just says characters can attack the turn they are played. So Burgess is just going to stand here and look pretty until my next turn again. However, since it is the second turn in the game, my leader can now attack my opponent's leader, or whatever character that they have is rested. One thing about combat in this game, leaders can always be targeted for an attack by characters and other leaders. However, the only time a character can be targeted for an attack is when they have become rested. A character becomes rested normally when they declare an attack, right? So let's say I just wanted to attack my opponent's leader. Right. The way combat works in One Piece is, I remember talking about the power at the top of the unit. Combat works in whichever power is equal to or greater from the attacking side, your attack is going to be successful. So if I have a 5,000 power leader attacking into another 5,000 power leader, I'm going to win that combat, meaning my opponent will then take a life, right? So let's say this is I'm on the defensive side, right? I ended my turn, it's my opponent's turn. My opponent decides to attack me, I'm gonna donate them this Burgess, as just for the example. So my opponent is going to rest their Jesus Burgess to attack into my leader. I decide I'm not going to, I have options now. If I have a blocker on my board, I can decide to block with the attack and redirect it to absorb it. However, since this Lafitte card is not a blocker, I now have entered the counter step in battle. And the counter step basically says, if you have a card in your hand with the counter value, you get to add that power to the defending unit for the attack. So this 5,000 power Burgess is attacking into this 5,000 power Blackbeard. I get to use this counter card from my hand and then apply that plus 1,000 power only for that specific attack. So my leader went from 5,000 to 6,000 power in that specific battle. So now I don't get to take damage. However, if you choose not to counter and take the damage, you would then take a card from the top of your life pile and add it to your hand. Now we're going to talk about triggers. Triggers are cards that have the trigger keyword at the bottom, and they usually have a specific effect. So because I see that I can either activate this trigger directly or take it to my hand, I'm going to activate the trigger. And then the trigger for this event is My Era Begins. It basically says activate the main effect of the card. And the main effect of the card is just another search. So I get to trigger it. Triggers go into the trash. They don't go into your hand after they're used unless directly stated otherwise. This trigger is then going to tell me to look at the top 3 cards of my deck and then add one Blackbeard pirate type character from this stack to my hand. I'm going to take this character's Vasco Shot character to my hand, and then the event card also says that the rest of the cards go to the trash. And I think that's pretty much it for combat. And I think that's pretty much it for combat. Let's just talk about how you win the game. So let's say we're at the point where me and my opponent has gone back and forth for a while. We're both at 10 Dawn. I'm all tapped out. I did everything I needed to play and what have you. You know, I'm just simulating an end game board state for this like Blackbeard leader. And then I'm at 0 life. If my opponent attacks into me, I'll use this blocker. They attack again, I'll use this blocker and it dies. And then I don't have any, if all of the cards in my hand have no counter, or I don't have enough counter, my opponent does a really big attack into me and I have no life, I just lose the game. All right, last bit of information I got for you guys. So if you want to start playing the One Piece card game today, you're gonna need a deck, right? So I'm just gonna recommend 2 starter decks for you guys to get in. Buy it at your local Walmart or Target or whichever retailer may have it. You can probably even get them off of Amazon too. I'm gonna recommend the red ST21 starter deck 21, Monkey D. Luffy, the Gear 5 EX starter deck. I think it's a great starter deck for beginners. It's aggressive and teaches you how to attach Dawn to your characters, and it also has a lot of units with the rush mechanic. If you really just want to jump right into the game and then start, you know, hitting your opponent a lot and enjoy an aggressive playstyle, I would recommend that starter deck. Next is we have the starter deck 25 Buggy, which at the time of this recording hasn't released yet. However, they will be dropping this Friday, June 6th. So once again, pick them up at your local retailer. But the starter deck Buggy is a bit more like old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Exodia style. You want to build a board of characters to enable you to play your big boss monster Buggy, who he doesn't automatically win you the game as Exodia, but he does have a pretty powerful effect that just removes any card from your opponent's board. Or I'm sorry, any character card from your opponent's board, and in combination with a bunch of other units with high stats, I think it really is a good strategy for players who are a little bit, you know, more card game enthusiasts and wants to play something fun and strong at the same time. That's going to be it from me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial video, and I hope you guys learned something today. Let me know if you need any more information. I will have a sequel video out coming soon that'll teach you where to play the One Piece card game. That means like finding a local scene or online environments in which you can play the game. So be on the lookout for that video, guys. You guys have a good one.